Hello everybody, welcome to a new series of tutorial on N-Track Studio 9 Pro. I'm very excited about this new series of tutorial. N-Track Studio is one of those applications which I always wanted to cover, and now I have the opportunity to start a new series of tutorial. So as I always do in the first video of any series, I give you an introduction of the navigation and controls. And N-Track Studio is actually quite vast, so it's not possible to go through in a short tutorial all the controls, but I'll just give you a flavor so that you can have a bit of orientation to the application, and then of course we'll progress through additional tutorial and videos coming shortly. So when you are presented for the first time in the application, you will be presented with the creation of a new song, which will be a screen like this. Here is where you can select a number of templates. For example, you can create a bit, and if you select that, you will have like a step sequencer for a drum, etc. Or if you prefer, for example, you can actually start with a type compose in terms of templates. Here is where it will allow you to select an instrument for a large a library, really good presets, and you have your Midi instrument, and you have your piano roll there, but you can also bring up your keyboard. And let's decrease slightly the volume as well. Okay. Other options in terms of template which you can choose. Start, you can record an audio track, so you'll have an audio track armed for recording, which you can use to record for the microphone, for example, or insert loops. Or other option, for example, would be to use loops directly, play the keyboard or play drums, and we'll look at each one of these in more details. A little bit of look at the interface. As you can see, very clean, very nice. So starting this time from the bottom right, here you have the selection of the menu, for example, where you can create a new song, opening, saving it, importing audio file, create a quick groove, which is really interesting. Other comments, you have your user guide, etc, etc. Then you have a settings, and it's quite cool. Look here, sample frequency up to 122,000, really good. Latency buffer, you can choose that down to 1.5 milliseconds. Do you want your bit resolution to 32? Well, you can do that. You want to use 64-bit audio engine enable, you can do that. Of course, all these settings will be influenced by the type of hardware that you have. In this case, I'm using an iPad, so it very much depend on the iPad spec that you have, if you can activate some of those or not, in terms of obtaining a good sound output. And the next we have the possibility to share a link, share as an M4A to external device, etc., which we'll look at future tutorial. You have undo, redo, you have possibility to add an audio track, instrument track, or a step sequencer track. Here's where you draw envelopes. Here you have the mixer. Look how nice the mixer looks, and you can scroll and you can see an additional part of the mixer itself. You can see the level here because it's an audio track, so it's picking up from my voice through the iPad microphone. Here is where, for example, you can choose the loops as an example. Okay, so very nice, lots of loops, really cool. Here you can scroll. If your iPad, it doesn't have a large screen, so you can have access to your keyboard. And we go through those controls in other video. You can have access also to your, if you like, your drum keyboard or play screen. Very very nice. Again, we'll look at these in future tutorials. Then you have a section here where you can see the bar where you are. When he's in play, you see he's moving. You can monitor the start and end. If you click, you can also monitor the length, okay, and you can change the different configuration here. You can choose the bit per minute here, which is really interesting. This is where you can set also the metronome, the tempo, accent. You can tap. We'll look at all of that in a future tutorial. You can set, for example, the key as well. Here, really nice. Here you have the transport control, where you can select to record, play, go back to the beginning and play the time selection in a loop if it is activated. And then let's have a look over here is where you have your tracks, right? And this is where you see your bars, which will scroll horizontally, of course, as the song is actually played. For an audio, of course, you can activate tracks like so, just clicking on each one of them. And a couple of controls, for example, this one lock the zoom in. This one is for the selection of mute and solo, arm for recording, your monitor, speakers. This one is actually to close that track, and this one is your pan as well, and this is your level, which you can change. Of course, you click on that and then you can also change moving the cursor or touching on the screen. If you click on the X, you actually kill that particular track. If you are on a Midi track, similar thing. You have also a symbol here for the Midi, for the piano roll, for the keyboard solve, which enables you to navigate to the piano roll as well. You can see the track which is being enabled now on the timeline, and you can do a lot of other things here on the selection. If you click on the keyboard, that you bring up again the keyboard associated to that particular track. You have also master track here, right, with again mute, soul, pan, etc. If you double click on somewhere on the track, it will give you the possibility to have a name, a color, to deleting, adding notes, freeze, bouncing, etc. You can also add a grid, and you can set also the grid measurement. You can say if it is enabled to, if it is not to grid, or if you have magnetic parts, etc., which we'll look at different tutorials. As you move from one track to the other, you have additional selection here. If you click in this banner, it gives you additional selection, which you can bring up. So let me show you, for example, if you bring up a particular loop and you double click on it, and let's close the window. This is the loop which has been added in, and if I then double click on this, it will zoom in and look at the number of options. Again, you can scroll up and down to go to additional ones as well. So it's here's where you can add effects. You can choose the output there, grouping by channel, send it to send effects. Let me show you, for example, the addition of effects. Look at this, fantastic, all the effects that you have inside the N-Track Studio, and also, of course, a UV-free effect as well. So you can add a UV-free effects as well, a UV-free also Midi instruments. So really, really powerful. So this was just an introduction to N-Track Studio 9 Pro, and we will continue the journey in a future tutorial. Thank you, and as always, see you next time. Bye.